Hello there, and welcome to Bump Up Your Faith. It feels like it's been forever since I've done one of these, and I know it's been a month or so. And I know I said I was going to probably stop doing testimonies and start getting into more teaching, but I put out there on Facebook that there were some Jehovah Witnesses that came to the door, and I gave them this testimony, and people responded and said, "Well, what was the testimony?" So I'll give you this testimony, and then hopefully here in the next week or so, I'll be doing a teaching on Hanukkah. I taught pastor's class last year, did a teaching on Hanukkah, just dug through the archives and dug up my notes, so I'm refreshing myself on that. And so next time, hopefully, I'll be giving you a little teaching on Hanukkah. But this testimony that I gave, I thought it would be easier to speak it than to write it all down. So it's still kind of debatable about which one is faster. But this testimony happened, the actual events occurred here within the last few months. And there were some people that I knew that were going through a hard time. And I couldn't stand to see them go through this, and so I kind of felt led of the Lord to give them, to help them out financially. The problem was I didn't have that much cash on me that I wanted to gift them, and so I thought, well, I'll stop at the bank on the way. I'll stop at the ATM and get this money out for them to help them out. And on the way, I had this amount in my mind initially that I was going to give, and then on the way to the bank, I was kind of bargaining with God. Do I really need to give this amount? Can I give less? Well, by the time I got to the bank, I was not getting any peace about giving the lesser amount. So I thought, fine, whatever. Go to the bank, go to the ATM, withdraw the original amount that I had planned on giving, put it in an envelope, went to the people, handed them the envelope. They didn't look in it right away. I didn't tell them how much was in it. But during the course of the conversation, come to find out their check had been shorted, and they had some bills that they were trying to pay, but their check had been shorted, and it was going to be like another week before the company would cut them a new check to make up for the amount that had been shorted. During the course of the conversation, come to find out what was in the envelope covered the amount that they had been shorted. So, praise God. Matt, in the meantime, is up north hunting with his brother. I didn't contact him ahead of time and let him know what was going on, because I assumed, he's been on hunting trips in the past. I know how this goes. They're in the woods, they're in the middle of nowhere, no cell signal, or they hunt all day and I don't get a text until 9 o'clock at night, or sometimes 6 in the morning, whenever they get to a place where they can get signal. So I didn't tell him that any of this was going on. I didn't even try contacting him, because I'm like, I know how this goes. Well, a couple hours after dropping this money off, he pulls in the driveway, my brother-in-law and Matt, in my brother-in-law's truck. And I'm going, well, where's our truck and our camper? They took our truck and our camper. I'm like, where is our vehicle? And Matt says, you're not going to believe what happened. And I'm going, oh. At that point, when somebody says that, your heart just falls into the pit of your stomach, and, oh, God, what happened? So he says, you're not going to believe what happened. They're on the way home, and the tire on the truck blew, and it didn't just go flat. It blew. The outer part of the tire totally peeled off. And when it peeled off, it took the plastic part of the wheel well, ripped that out with it, took the plastic trim on the bumper, the front bumper, and cracked the front bumper. All of this happened when the tire went. And Matt said, everything kind of went flying. And he said, I don't understand it. Somebody should have been hurt. He said nothing happened. Didn't lose control of the vehicle, was able to pull over to the side, recover all the pieces that had flown off, and put the spare on, and they continued on down the road. And then they get about 5 or 7 miles from his brother's house, and one of the tires on the trailer blew, except they didn't have a spare for that. So they limped it along to his brother's house on 3 tires. Get to his brother's house, and in the process of backing the camper and the truck up into the driveway to get it out of the way, the brake line on the truck went. So he said by this time, he's like, I was just done. And so he tells me all this. And of course, Satan immediately gets in my ear, gets in my head. Oh, you shouldn't have given that money away. Look, now you have these repairs. Now you have these expenses. And you could have used that money towards these expenses that you have now. See, you shouldn't have given that money away. And I'm like, oh, just shut up. And so Matt gets done telling this story. And I'm like, oh. He said, what? I said, you're not going to believe what happened. And so I told him. And he's like, oh, well, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. We always are. I said, yeah, we always are. But he said, oh, I wish you had texted me beforehand. I said, yeah, I'm wishing I'd have texted you beforehand now, too. But he said, well, it's probably a good thing that you bless these other people with finances. He said, because it could have been a lot worse. We could have broken down in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. Could have been seriously hurt when the tire blew on the truck. And he said none of that happened. So I said, yeah. So praise God, he found a trailer tire that was reasonable, and was able to repair the brake line. Reasonable. Way less than what it would have been, to take things into the shop. But, so that happened on a Saturday. All this happened on a Saturday. And we have this portion of our property that's in a government program where once a year they send us a check as kind of reimbursement for having this section of property in their program. And it doesn't cover everything, but it does cover a little bit. And so the testimony is, after all this happened on Saturday, Monday or Tuesday, we get an email from the person that's in charge of this program, and it's, I'm blah 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 with the USDA or whatever. You should check your bank account in the next couple days because we're going to direct deposit this money into your account. And so Monday, Tuesday, whenever we got this email, Matt pulls it up on the phone. Our bank account is through our phone, and he says, oh, look, it's there. The amount that we got from them was 6 times the amount that we gave away. Now, come on. What are the odds, as I heard a pastor say recently, what are the odds that God would know I was going to give this amount away? Matt would not know that I was going to give this amount away. we were going to have all this trouble with the truck, and what we were going to get back was going to cover not only what that person's check was shorted, but was going to be 6 times the amount that we gave away. Now, you know, sometimes when you step out in faith like that, the Lord doesn't bless you maybe financially, but he blesses you in other ways. With health, with a promotion, with whatever. So that's kind of my encouraging testimony for the day. You know, when the Lord kind of impresses upon you and burdens you to help someone out, do it, because you never know how it's going to bless that other person and how it's going to come full circle and end up blessing you. So that's the encouraging word for the day, word for the week. I hope that bumped up your faith.